People. Que pasa, suck, say what they do. Welcome to Crime Time News, where the difference is in the meds. Call it news with a buzz. This one is called Here Top Scammer a Ball, saying that he did not know that the situation or conditions in the jail is so brutal, so harsh. It is hard for him to acclimatize to those conditions. Now people, if you remember, I did a video a couple of days ago and I said that these youths are coming out of high school with enough subject, going to these university, coming out of these university with all sorts of degree in all sorts of computer science, computer engineering. However, they are not getting the proper job. The job is simply not available. And then they are getting recruited by the top scammers. These jobs that they've been recruited for is paying them probably more than they thought they would earn as a profession in the computer field. I am speaking about a 26-year-old youth. His name is Matthew Graham. Matthew Graham is one of those persons. Matthew Graham is overqualified for most jobs in Jamaica. He is a computer software engineer. So therefore, you know that he is good with maths. He is good with fraud. He is good with hacking. He is good with decoding and coding. He has the skill set to be a menace to society in the criminal network. Mr. Graham was recruited by some mastermind in the scamming underworld. I am going to lay out the charges, allegations, and accusations that were set against this man and why he was locked up and why his lawyer is pleading and begging for the judge to let him out after he was arrested for some very serious fraudulent crimes. It is said that Mr. Graham went on a fraudulent spree. At first, he went to a car mart and he told the people, listen, you know, I like that vehicle outside. I would like to purchase it. However, in my rush leaving my house, I just happened to forget my bank card, ATM card. Is there any possible way that I can purchase this vehicle? I have the account, I have the number, I have the password, I have everything. Just don't have the physical card. The agent at that place said, you know, it is protocol that you need the physical card. So therefore, we are going to deny you access to do that transaction. Go for that card, and when you come back, we'll be sure to oblige. Make sure that you get the car that you like. Needless to say, Mr. Graham, who was with his compatriots, his cumberer, his cronies, were pretty much upset. However, they were not daunted. They did not give up. They were persistent. Persistence would pay. They then went to a next car mart and they looked at a couple of vehicles. You know, the big talk. They have the gift, the gab. Yes, this vehicle would be appropriate for the business. I am thinking about getting a couple of vehicles. That is something that he might have said to his cumberos. They then decided that, all right, we're going to take 3 of your vehicles off the lots and we're going to pay you right away. He then reaches for his wallet. You know, sir, I forget the card. Damn, I really want these vehicles. It is so much inconvenience for me to leave from here back to my house. I might have a change of heart and might not return to complete the process. People like me say, they are a scammer. They have the gift to gab. He convinced the agents at that car mart that he could use the point of sale machine. He has a number, he has a password, he has everything, the PIN. So therefore, that person, probably desperate, knows that they are working on commission, knows that they're under surveillance by the boss to complete the transaction, make the company some sorts of money. Maybe the company, like most companies in Jamaica, them kind of desperate. So they agreed. At the end of the day, Mr. Graham and his cumbersons, they purchased 3 vehicles, a whopping $8.something million. As a matter of fact, they were so patient. One of the vehicles is still on the wharf. However, they decided to pay cash and get the other 2 that were physically there. So 3 vehicles, they would pick up the 3rd one. It is said that after that transaction, Mr. Graham then went to some sorts of hardware and lumber store in a St. Mary, and he purchased some items for $1.5 million. Again, he's a scammer. He has the gift to gab. He convinced that sales agent to make him put in the number and put in the PIN to whatever card he was using. So people, 8-point-something at one car mart, 3 vehicles, and then 1-point-something at a hardware store, about $10 million or so. This is the thing. It is a protocol of businesses that whenever you're using a card, a physical card should be available. Most cards, based on information, they use 6-number PIN. It is said that Mr. Matthew used a 3-number PIN. However, he still gained access to getting that transaction completed through the bank, mostly NCB Bank. It is said that it is the same car dealer in which he bought those 3 vehicles, one in which he picked up, and then the next one was on the wharf to be delivered at a date ASAP. That is the person that went into the Popo and made some sorts of reports. It was mostly that complaints or reports along with other complaints from other victims that got Matthew arrested. As a matter of fact, it is said that Mr. Graham went into some sorts of branch of the NCB. I am going to assume that he went inside the physical bank, not the ATM machine, and he was checking on some other transactions that were pending. It seems as if the NCB bank and other victims were collaborating and they busted him while he was in the bank, meaning NCB. Based on the court documentation, based on what the Popo said, when they came to arrest him, hold him with his hands in the cookie jar, it is said that he was very boisterous. He was very disrespectful. He told the Popo the reason why una act like that are show people na KILL uno. Based on what the complainant at that car dealership said, he was forced to give them the car because Matthew and his cumbolo, his crony, his mastermind, his chopper friend, threatened to KILL him. Tell him say, or tell them say, listen, we have the chopper, we have the Draco, we have the M, we have the AK, we have the R, we have all sorts of artillery like some sorts of military. If we not get what we pay for with $8-something million, people are going to be DEADINGS. People, you know that is not a proper spelling, but you know how the thing go. Now people, after all of these transactions, after all of these fraudulent activities, Mr. Matthew was charged officially. He was charged for larceny. He was charged for fraud. He was charged for using unauthorized data from a computer. He was charged for facilitating some sort of fraudulent activity. You name it, from A to Z, anything that is related to any sort of computer fraud, scamming, sham, he was thrown the whole book. The judge fling the hammer and the gavel at him. Him get everything that he deserve. Now people, here is where Mr. Matthew Graham got a reality check. When he got arrested, he hired the services of a top attorney. He thought that he could pay his way out. He thought that the money that he had stolen, he could convince the judge along with his lawyer that, listen, he deserves bail. This is what they claim when he went to courts. They claim that in the facility, it is very brutal. His lawyer claimed that he has been getting all sorts of fainting spell. He needs special attention and that facility does not have it. So therefore, he needs his client to get some sort of bail. And what is even more liar, based on what this lawyer is saying, he said that my client did not bring any sorts of card. My client did not do anything to any sorts of point of sale machine. There is no sort of record of my client buying any of these merchandise, meaning the 3 vehicles at that place, meaning the $1.5 million worth of stuff at the hardware store, about $10 million or so. My client never entered any NCB branch and was checking on any other pending transaction that was in the making. My client is an innocent man. There is no sort of record. Now people, what the record shows is that most of these lawyers, once they get that money, once they get that retainer or paid in full, they will paint a picture of Picasso, of a flowers beautiful versus the devil that their client is. Money moves mountain. Money makes these lawyers say just about anything that is not even rational in front of any sort of judge. However, the judge in his or her rebuttal said, listen, me no know what you talk about. These are some very serious charges, allegations, and the fact that on a couple of occasions your client threatened to KILLR brandy some sorts of tall up at the car mart, and also when the popo came to arrest him. So therefore, there is more than reasons for concern. Your client is not only a thief. Your client is a dangerous man that have a whole bunch of dangerous people that are masterminding, conspiring with him to defraud and THREATEN people if he does not get or they do not get their way. So therefore, the witnesses or the complainants in this case, lives might be at jeopardy. The popo's lives might be in jeopardy based on what your clients and these cumbalers, how they threaten these people. The moral of the story is this. This is what is going on in Jamaica. This is why we see so much fraudulent activities in these schools, in these financial institutions, This is the fact. These people leaving college, are not gainfully employed, have all the top skill sets. In this case, perfect example, computer engineer, software engineer. He knows how to fraud, he knows how to scam, he knows how to code, he knows how to program. So therefore, he can manipulate just about any sort of banking system. regardless of how tight it is, especially when they have people in the inside, especially when they can hack into the system of these financial situation. People, it seems as if dog nyam with supper at the current or present situation in Jamaica. Matthew start to follow the hype. Matthew is a good youth that went woefully wrong. Matthew was hired, recruited by some scammer. Matthew started to make all sorts of money and forget all the things that his parents taught him, sent him to good school. The years that he studied in a school to have ambition to be a legal, law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. However, he lost his way. He was swayed. He was manipulated. People, Matthew is 26. If you're of that age of consent, whatever you do, you are responsible for your action 100%. Matthew start to head or lick head round some people. Them a act like them a gangster, them a scammer and people. You and I know that because of the amount of money that these scammers are making. Them have to make sure that them defense mechanism is in play. So therefore, them safeguard themselves with all sorts of tools. If they themselves are not bad, them can hire a whole bunch of press buttons that are willing to press these triggers and commit all sorts of atrocity. Matthew lost his way. Now he lost his freedom. He is going to lose his life very soon if he continues on this path. Because people, trust me, whenever you are signed up to these scammer, it is as if you are signed up to the mob. So therefore, if you decide that you want to leave, your life might also leave you. Matthew get a second chance. He got a reality check. Is he going to check into the afterlife, or is he going to do some sorts of check yourself before you wreck yourself and steer the ship into the right paths? He followed the hype, and the hype pop off him stripe. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. And last but not least, please subscribe to my next channel. It is called Jamaica Dancehall Source. I'll be pinning the link to that channel in the description of this video. Bless up.